Hi, I'm Dr. Victoria West. I'm a chiropractor at Functional Strength and Therapy in Stouffville, Ontario. Today I'm working with Chelsea and we're going to be working on diaphragmatic breathing and incorporating that into building intra-abdominal pressure as we add load and demand on the body. So if you watch my previous video where we go through kind of 360 expansion and breathing, we're going to revisit that. So I'm going to have my hands wrapped around Chelsea's middle and we're working on, as Chelsea inhales, that this area expands, and as she exhales, it kind of goes downwards, kind of like a balloon that's being blown up, and then a little bit of air being let out. So now that we have that established, I want Chelsea to be able to use these muscles that are between the ribcage and the pelvis, the oblique system, transverse abdominis, all those fun guys, and the diaphragm together. So we're going to have the knees bent at 90 degrees or a little bit higher, just depending on how challenging it is for you. We'll try it here. Knees are going to be a little bit wider than the pelvis, and then the feet are going to be a little bit closer together, but not touching. So a lot of people who don't have good stability will kind of touch the feet together. We want them to be a little bit separate to make sure that we are assessing correctly. The neck and head are supported, and we are just making sure that everything feels pretty good. I've noticed that since I've brought Chelsea's legs up that it's a little bit more challenging for that expansion to happen, and that's very normal, and we want to see that these muscles are nice and active. We just want to see that as we inhale, that breath is still traveling between the ribcage and the pelvis. And exhale. Good. And we want to make sure that that back of the ribcage is staying in contact with the bed. The other spot that we want to be in contact with the bed or the ground is the back of the pelvis. If the low back is not fully flush with the ground, that's totally fine. Everyone has a different amount of lordosis in their back or low back curve. I just want to make sure that those two areas are engaged because that gives me the most certainty that the correct system of muscles is active. I'm going to check in with Chelsea, make sure that the neck and shoulders are staying nice and relaxed. We're not going into a chin jut. We're not getting a lot of activation through here while we're working on our core. We want to train the neck and shoulder muscles to, when we're using our core, we don't need your help. I see that a lot in exercises out in the gym where we're getting a lot of activation, particularly planks or push-ups, where we'll see a bit of a collapse through here. So I want to train these muscles to stay out of core exercises because that is none of their business. So we're practicing a few breaths here. Chelsea's doing great. As a progression, so if you're here and this feels like a lot of work, great. If this feels too hard, you can bring the knees a little bit higher here. You're going to feel it's a little bit easier and just kind of work your way out. So, spend a few minutes. I always say quality over quantity. I suggest using timers. So find this position, breathe here. When you feel like you are having a failure point where the low back or the mid back is starting to lift off the table or the ground, rest, put your feet down, come back and revisit that position. And just, set a timer 5 minutes, revisit it as many times as you can with really, really good quality and form. As a progression, so if this feels pretty easy to have the legs at 90 degrees, we're going to inhale and we're going to extend and lower one leg at a time and then bring that leg back up. And then we're going to alternate. So breathing in, staying nice and engaged, mid back is still grounded, and we're just going to alternate like that until Chelsea feels that she's getting activation up through here. The hip flexors are burning. The mid back point is leaving the ground. Again, if this feels super easy, I can see after a few reps that we're starting to get really nice core activation. So we're probably getting close to our failure point now at 3 each side. We'll show you the progression 1. We're going to do both legs at the same time. Good. And then coming back up and back. Great job, Chels. Okay, lower the legs down. Awesome. So that is your progressions for adding load and demand through the core once you've established diaphragmatic breathing. Thank you very much.